Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to game number 2 of your series between Beastyqt and TheViper.
Spawning in on the northern side of the map, it is going to be Beastyqt playing as the French in blue.
On the opposite side of the map, spawning in as the Beastyqt dynasty, the color red. It is the one, the only, TheViper.
Okay, let's take a look at this map over here real quickly. And one thing that can be easily noted is that for Lipany, we have a very limited amount of cliffs. So this is one of the more open versions of Lipany over here, despite the fact that you do have quite a lot of forest that you can use in the future to wall. But that entire middle area is super duper open, which makes it much less defensive than some other Lipany generations that we have seen before. And that makes greedy plays a little bit more difficult to pull off.
To me, this is definitely a good spawn for Beastyqt. I think he's going to be very happy with this. You know, in the event that he rewatches this and he's trying to assess his spawn, or if he's playing the game, I think he's going to be pretty happy with that. Because, as you mentioned, in Lipany, very often you can get a spawn where you have got a cliff into a wood line, into a cliff, and that can be completely walled off just naturally through those natural features. And you don't even have to wall as a player, and that just restricts you. And as the French, you want to be hitting these resources. You want to be jumping behind enemy lines. You want to be hitting wood lines, farm lines, gold mines, all that stuff. And you're not going to be able to do it if there's those natural walls that are preventing you. So great spawn here for Beastyqt. He'll be very, very happy coming down towards that south side. But it looks like at this stage of the game, we've got no early wheelbarrows coming out. Both players looking to just rush up towards that castle, or rather feudal, as quickly as possible.
And one thing that Salami is highlighting to us is that the resources for Viper are very much clustered up. Look at that. Both stones on the right side, both hunts on the right side very close to each other, and the golds were all on the front, rather close to each other. On the other side, also clustered up resources here for Beastyqt in terms of the hunt. And this could be something that could possibly motivate a professional scouts build. Abbasids, sometimes when they go for a 2-town center play, they play without any army, so you might be able to take all 4 deer patches back home for yourself, for Beasty, if you're playing with pro scouts.
Yeah, that's a great point. Pro Scouts is obviously something that really helps you in this matchup. You're going to deny away that food. You're going to force that farm transition a little bit earlier. And the Beastyqt dynasty is a civilization, like all civs, that really needs that food, but they need it a little bit more. Obviously, with the extra town centers that they are going to be making, typically they're not going to be spending as much of it because of the fresh food stuffs, but because they make more town centers, typically you can see them go up to 3 TCs. They're going to be spending a little bit more than your average civ. But now it looks like we are seeing scouts returning back to base. Sheep going to get dropped off at the town center. Looking like a pretty decent collection, and we do see that mill coming down on the berries. So probably going to be a wheelbarrow opening here for both of these players.
Yeah, it looks like it's wheelbarrow for Beast. He's not going to go pro scout, so he's just playing good old-fashioned French out there. And for Viper, he's going to expand those berries right now. You could see that he started off with sheep. He's just now moving towards those berries. And he's going to place his town center at the back on that double hunt, most likely. Because when you play with the Abbasids, you want to place that town center on food. That could be berries, that could be hunt, depending on the map. But you want to place it on food because that's going to be your primary bottlenecking resource. And it's also the resource that is really problematic if you run out of. Because the only way to get food, if you run out of those hunts or berries, is to get farms. So you want to expand towards as much food as you can with that second town center at the beginning of the game.
All right, so I'm just going to let our observer know, and friend, everybody watching, that at the moment we've got things flipped. So you'll see that even Viper is on the right side, which is correct, and Beastyqt on the left side, which is correct. But you can see that Viper's currently got that he's got 19 villages. That's not the case. It's actually Beastyqt who's got the 19 villages because he's playing as the French. So it's only natural that he's going to go up and have that extra little villager advantage. So I'm sure we'll get that fixed up behind the scenes shortly. But bear with us. We're just going to flip the flags. Might be a little bit confusing because you have Viper on the right playing, or Viper on the left playing from the right, and Beastyqt on the right playing from the left. But we'll fix it up for you. Do not worry.
Yeah, there we go.
Salami. There we go. I think we've sorted it out. There we go. Yes, the villager count now matches up. Everything is in order.
Indeed, everything is in order over here. Scouts now coming in here for Beasty, harassing those gold miners a tiny bit. First Royal Knight on the way, and it looks like Viper is not moving towards stone just yet, so we're going to see him pop out some army before thinking about the second town center. If he ever thinks about the second TC, would be very surprising to see him play on one town center, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, curious that we're having a barracks out, but obviously it makes sense against those early knights that are going to be battering down the hatches as they will undoubtedly begin to move across the map. And we can see that we've got that first knight already coming down towards the gold mine. Viper's got that wheelbarrow in, but I'm curious as to whether the fresh foodstuffs has come through just yet. We'll take a look.
He's got it. He's got it.
All right, he's got it. So, and he's also got enough gold in the bank to actually get his hardened upgrade for the spearman as well. So he's going to be feeling great about his position here. Perfect timing. He must have done the exact math on that, but we actually see a stable getting thrown down for the Viper.
Yeah, he's going to go for the good old-fashioned horseman spearman approach over here. You see, he has actually left a scout on that hunt. He wants to make sure when a Beastie expands towards that hunt, he's going to see that. Archer is now being added to the mix over here, though, for now. Oh, look at that. Viper actually sees the range as well, so he knows everything that's happening over here, and he's gonna be well prepared for that. Knight once again swoops in for the berry villagers, though, and this could be concerning for Viper being cut off from the berries.
Yeah, this could be big, and we did see a villager moving out as well. There's the villager being highlighted by Salami. So Beastyqt once again going to be bringing out the outposts. It is something that he loves to do, irrespective of the civilization. You know, typically you'd only see it on the Mongols, but for Beastyqt, he brings it out on every damn civ. Even the French coming out here with some early outpost shenanigans.
Yeah, the towers are difficult to deal with if you don't have battering rams, and just one tower could make life so difficult here for Viper. You see, the tower is probably going towards the lumberjacks rather than the berry villagers, or at least that's the initial plan over here. Part of the equation here could be that Beastyqt can distract Viper towards those berries, and then there's a slightly smaller possibility of Viper spotting that tower coming up on those lumberjacks. I actually love this tower indeed. As you see, Viper has no idea about that coming up, and you don't even expect it, honestly, with the French, because French is not your classic tower rushing civ at any time in the game.
Yeah, but it looks like he is going to spot it out. Oh my lord, those horsemen barely running past now, heading up to the north. They're going to spot it. They spot out the villager as well. Beastyqt going to have to evacuate the dance floor. Outpost going to get left for dead, and the villager going to be falling back towards his army saying, help! The knights running in, looking to try and charge and prevent this villager from dying, and indeed they do. And now the attention has been turned towards this outpost. Spearmen bringing themselves out in force as well, and all attention is now out on this position.
Oh man, Viper also threw some torches that way. That made sure that the tower, even if it cancelled, it's not going to provide a full refund. On the other side though, Viper is being denied of stone though, so that is something that the French player has to be happy about. Also was able to pick off a couple of villagers on that stone mine. Now it looks like the villager is gonna get taken down by the horsemen. Good value over there for Viper, but it's not going to work much if he loses a lot of horsemen in this one. Looks like he's going to successfully clean up the archers and then disengage. Great engagement by the Viper.
Yeah, Viper going to be very happy with this spearman coming in to trade away, and it looks like all of the horsemen are just cleaning up those archers. But Viper, unfortunately, behind the scenes, he's lost quite a few stone miners. So that is 2 that have gone down. So he's going to be behind on the villager count quite a bit, down by 4 vills at this point in time, but continuing to push out and force away his opponent. Now looking to try and take these hunts out as well. It is going to be Beastyqt who turns towards the hunts, but in the middle of the map, some skewers coming out, and Beastyqt making a bit of a mistake, an uncharacter miss. Whoa, my lord, I'm losing my mind right now. What is going on for Beasty?
Yeah, Beastie just ran through a spearman over there, loses one knight over there, the other one is heavily damaged, and now the hunters are exposed. And this is where the French could lose their power. If they lose their momentum, suddenly they lose their map control, and with that, the resources that they have been controlling so far. Archers now coming in decent numbers, though, to push this one back, so Beastie should be able to get back his hunt very soon. But still, not necessarily a bad scenario for Viper to be in. He was able to push Beastie all the way back to his base. Now might even be able to get that kill on Beastie Scout.
Yeah, and we can see that Beastie now also going to be thinking about throwing down a second town center. We can see he's gathered up 178 stones so far. No villagers sitting on that stone at the moment. But the Viper probably going to be... Oh, actually, no, those are just archers. But the Viper going to be working towards his own second town center as well. Obviously yet to get it down just yet, but he's managed to survive. And that's always one of the scary things, isn't it? When you're playing up against the French, you know, you can throw down a potential town center, but the likely response is just going to be that it dies to a ram.
Yeah, Viper now has enough resources for a second town center. Here it goes. It's going to be placed on the food. A little conservative, but understandable, given the fact that knights are there. But Viper also amping up the level of the aggression. You see Spearmen running all across the map over there, and let's not forget, Abbassids can make siege weapons straight away, so we could see a battering ram come out here for Viper any moment.
Yeah, this could be really big for him. He's still got quite an aggressive position here on the map. And I love the composition that he's going for here, just really sticking it out with the melee composition. You'd expect that Beastyqt might even think about throwing in some spearmen of his own. That's a great way to mess up this position here for Viper and force him into a more difficult... Oh my god, is Viper going for a third town center? I think he is. This is super smart from Viper. He's going to buy plenty of time. But at the same time, Beastyqt's taken some stone off his stone mine, but hasn't actually gone for that second town center. So there is the potential that he might just go all in.
Yeah, I think that stone was for the arrow slits for that tower initially. He only had 2 villagers in that stone mine for a long time. I guess he just didn't want to go back and go for a second TC anymore. But yeah, Viper has been mining some extra stones, so a third town center is definitely an option. And Beasty will find himself falling behind in villager count quite rapidly over here. Love the scout placement for Viper over there. This guy overlooking this valley from the here looks like a campaign mission of how scenic it looks, and it provides so much info.
Can we take a look at the perspective of Beastyqt? I want to see what he sees. Does he know that Viper is thinking about a third town center right now? He's got no clue. He's got no clue at all. There's a bit of a raid heading out over on the eastern side of that map, but he's got barely any vision. Immediately getting chased out of that stealth forest. He knows how dangerous it is to head into this stealth forest. And now those 3 knights making their way around the eastern side, but Viper coming in with a classic spearman raid. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen. That's a lot of villagers on gold that are going to get caught and skewered. It is villagers for dinner tonight, boys.
Oh man, the value is tremendous. I wonder if those spearmen actually had phalanx because they were so effective there, and they're just gonna be like, okay, we're out of here. So much value for Viper over there. He takes the villager lead. Finally, his scout actually gets found out. On the other hand, though, retaliation is coming in the form of knights, and Viper, little slow to react, he's going to lose a couple of villagers to these knights here.
Are we able to check and see if he's got textiles on those villagers just yet? Well, we can see that he's having a little bit of trouble here, beginning to transition over to farms. Still no textiles coming through just yet. Knights heading down to the south side. They're going to be able to run into a couple of villages. We're going to move down a little bit, Salami. Those villages are all going to be going down if he's not careful, and indeed, it is them heading back to the pavilion. Viper thinking about trying his best to keep his villagers alive, now managing to get some reinforcements back towards this position. At the same time, over on the other side of the map, we got action going down. A little bit of a horseman engagement over towards this position. There's a lot of archers here and not a lot of knights. This is going to be a great little cleanup for the Viper.
Great cleanup, and the spearmen are coming back. Oh, the knights!
Spearmen, we're going for another raid. Spearmen, we're going for another raid. The gold mine, Salami. Go back to the gold mine. No, we don't care about that. We want to see the spearmen raid. Oh, the gold mine's empty. He must have killed all the villagers.
Oh no, they are going all the way back, and now Viper cleaned up. Actually, Viper got cleaned up over here. A lot of horsemen were lost, and now the knights are moving in for Beasty. Action all over the map over here. Viper, he only has light units though, only horsemen, spearmen. Those got cleaned up by the archer fire and the tower fire as well. There's a tower there with arrow slits for Beasty that helped a lot against the horsemen of Viper. And ultimately, when the dust settles, we're looking at a better population for Beasty, better villager count than the Abbasid player that is right now on 3 town centers. Obviously, that's not going to last long though. Beasty needs to make something happen against those 3 town centers now.
And he is now researching siege engineering. So you talk about making something happen. It looks like he's going to be making some siege towers. I mean, I'm just kidding. It's Rams. But it could be siege towers as well coming out today. 3 town centers for the Viper. So quite a hefty amount of town centers. He's got a lot of food in the bank right now. 900 food. And now another raid going to be heading in towards that wood line. Villagers going to be able to jump inside the town center to safety. They managed to keep themselves alive for another day. And the spearmen going to be coming out to meet them. Only 18 military right now for the Viper. He's going to be very careful because there's 2 potential outcomes to this game. Number 1, Viper dies in the next 7 minutes. Number 2, Viper wins in the next 20. That's going to be it.
Oh, the knights are finding the berry villagers though, and this is something that you have to start doing if you're Beasty. You know Viper wants those berries because he's playing Abbasid. So you gotta send the small groups of knights to each of those berry patches, probe them, see if Viper is there because you might be rewarded with some villager kills. And when the dust settles, look at that, the villager count still essentially identical for the 2 players. You wouldn't even notice that Beasty is on 1 TC if it wasn't for the villager count.
Yeah, we see those knights continuing to loom down around the south side now. Looks like they've been cleaned up on the berry patch, and oh my lord, we could have a little bit of danger, and Beastyqt loses the first knight, second knight almost going down. There's only 3 that remain as they continue to look for villages. They're going to continue to struggle on this south side of the map, and Viper, I'm starting to worry about him. He's going castle age. He doesn't realize that Beasty's putting all of his money on black right now, and he is spinning that roulette ring. I don't know what it's called. What is it called? The roulette thing?
I think sounds reasonable for us, that's for sure, because indeed Viper is taking a bit of a gamble with the castle age over here. He's heavily outnumbered, army by 37 to 19, and a battering ram is coming in. That's not the starting TC, that's an expansion town center, making it much more difficult to protect. And let's not forget, Viper can't afford to lose villagers over here, because it's not like he has a tremendous villager lead. He can't just throw away those vills to save that town center.
Viper in a little bit of trouble right now. This is a classic build order we see coming out from him. It's the 3 town centers into Fast Castle into GG. The question's going to be whether he can skip that GG part and go into a mangonel. And I like the chances of this. Take a look at his resources, though. He doesn't have a lot of wood in the bank, and that's going to really hurt him if he wants to try and get a mangonel down. And Spearman on the front line, going to be able to repel on that position. We can see the town center here highly likely to go down, and I think Viper's just got to cut his losses with this one and give it up. It is unlikely that he's going to be able to keep this one alive. That town center, or that age up, still got 35 seconds on it, but there is the potential that he could whip out a mangonel and really look to shift the shape of this battle.
Yeah, that's probably what he's working towards, the new mangonels to help a lot against those archers. But as you pointed out, he doesn't have access to wood. 87 wood per minute. There is just no forest, no lumberjacks for him at all. So he only can make a mangonel if he's buying the wood he needs, which is gonna be extremely expensive. Just a handful of lumberjacks working to the south. And the dream of a mangonel might just remain a dream at this point.
He needs to drop a market and then sell all of the food that he's got and buy the wood. That's the only way that he's going to be able to hold this one. It is a mangonel right now that is going to save the Viper. He enters into the castle age, and with that, knights are now going to be the choice that he makes. That is the direction he looks to go, so adding in knights here, or lancers, as they are better known as the Abbasid Dynasty berry villagers going down. And now Spearman moving forward, trying to put some damage out onto these rams, but you can really feel that Beastyqt is all in right now. This is all or nothing for him. This is a death push coming in, and he is continuing to issue many deaths over on the Viper side of the playing field. This could be a 2-0 right now to Beastyqt.
Yeah, the towers are going down. No access to gold here for Viper. He's going to struggle to add those knights because he simply has no access to gold. And the Viper, despite the fact that he's got slightly better villager numbers, he simply can't have his eco work. So many villagers fleeing from all those knights, so many of them idle inside town centers. A lot of buildings taken down, rather, and Viper's army sitting at only 3 lancers and 16 spearmen, with the 3rd battering ram coming in here for Beasty. 53 army versus 20. How is Viper going to hold this?
I don't think there's any way he can hold this one. He's going to try his best. The 2nd town center now under threat. The battering rams moving in and looking to try and seal the deal here. A barrack's going to be coming down on the south side. More lancers continuing to come out for the Viper. He's got 3 more in queue. Keep in mind those lancers, they are the castle age lancers. First battering ram does go down. 2nd battering ram relatively low on health. And the Viper is trying his best to hold on in this position. Villagers going to be popping out and trying to throw their torches down. They do indeed. Slowly but steadily microing back and forth. We can see Viper actually trying to hold on. Spearman going to be coming to the fore. And all of a sudden, Viper making a little bit of a mistake, engaging with the spears on the front side. I already know what happened right there. He told those spearmen to move back, but the command didn't issue. I guarantee you that's what happened. He told both the knights and the spearmen to move back, but only the knights moved back because his APM is too high. The game can't handle that many commands. I'm not even kidding you. It happens all the time.
Oh man, the town center is not going down. And the towers creeping up as well for Beasty. That's going to provide extra firepower. And Viper is just running out of juice here. 8 army versus 55. Viper can't stop this. He's going to lose everything.
2nd town center going down. The Viper has gone from 3 town centers down to 1. And with that, it is GG. The classic build order coming out from the Viper. 3 town centers into Fast Castle, into GG.
Oh man, we have seen the downfall of the feudal age aggression throughout Golden League. Back in the days, the response to a greedy play was all in feudal age with battering rams, archers, and knights for the French. Nowadays, in the previous rounds, it was more about just respond with greed yourself, add your own second town center, play a long game. Beasty had no desire to play a long game over here. He wanted to be aggressive, he wanted to punish this one, and he did that in a masterful fashion. Viper, he tried to go to Castle Age, but he wasn't given time here by Beasty. Beasty takes a second very convincing win over here, and now he's up 2-0.
Really impressive stuff there from Beastyqt, and you can't help but feel for Viper. There might have been a little bit of an error in his judgment, or maybe in his information. I don't think it was judgment. I think it was just information. Highly likely that he's checked that stone and seen that. Probably what's happened is that this is his thinking. Beastyqt was on the stone trying to get that second town center in, but Viper comes in with a couple of units, forces him off the stone. So Viper's got in his head, he's anchoring towards it. He's like, well, Beastyqt, he's trying to get that second town center. So I'm going to outmatch him. I'm going to go for 3. And then I'm going to go fast castle and get it up on him. But the reality was the Beastyqt was going all in. So whether he didn't scout that all in coming through from Beastyqt, that's going to be a big possibility, or whether it was just a misread on the situation.